What does it take to silence 56,000 screaming Dodger fans in their own stadium? Not a grand slam. Not a walk-off. Not a pitching masterpiece. Just one man. One swing. One savage line drive in the ninth inning, and suddenly, everything the Dodgers built this season felt fragile. Shohei Ohtani stepped into the batter's box with the game hanging by a thread. The Cardinals were clinging to a 3-1 lead. The crowd was electric. The pressure was suffocating. And in that exact moment, the moment that separates legends from stars, Ohtani didn't flinch. He crushed it. A rocket. A laser. A line drive so violent it seemed to tear through the stadium air itself. And just like that, the Dodgers' fate was sealed. Cardinals 4, Dodgers 1. But here's what nobody is talking about today. It wasn't just a hit. It wasn't just a moment. What happened in that ninth inning was the result of something far deeper, something built in silence, in preparation, in the kind of daily discipline that most people never see and never talk about. To understand what happened last night at Dodger Stadium, you have to rewind, not to the first pitch of the game, but to hours before it. While the stadium was still empty. While the grounds crew was still dragging the infield dirt. While most players were still in the clubhouse scrolling their phones. Ohtani was already working. This is the part of Ohtani that television cameras rarely catch. The preparation. The routine. The almost obsessive commitment to being ready before the moment arrives, so that when the moment does arrive, there is no hesitation. No second-guessing. No fear. The Cardinals' pitching staff had done their homework heading into this series. They knew Ohtani's tendencies. They had mapped his swing paths, studied his timing against off-speed pitches on the outer half, and built a game plan designed to neutralize the most dangerous hitter in baseball. And for 8 innings, it worked. For 8 innings, the Cardinals executed their plan almost perfectly. Ohtani was kept in check. The Dodgers' offense sputtered. And Cardinals fans, scattered throughout the visiting section, dared to believe. But baseball has a way of humbling everyone who gets too comfortable. The ninth inning began with the Cardinals holding a 3-1 lead. In baseball terms, that is not a comfortable lead. It is a lead that demands focus, precision, and zero mistakes. One swing from the right bat can change everything, and everyone in that stadium knew whose bat they were most afraid of. The Dodgers needed base runners. They needed life. And slowly, painfully, almost dramatically, they got it. A walk. A single. Suddenly the tying run was standing at the plate with 2 runners on base and the stadium transformed into something primal. Pure noise. Pure tension. Pure baseball. And then the Cardinals manager made his move, bringing in fresh arms, trying to reset the momentum, trying to prevent exactly what was about to happen. But Ohtani had already made his decision. This is something that elite athletes speak about but rarely explain. Before the pitch is thrown, before the wind-up even begins, the truly great ones have already processed the situation. They know the count. They know the pitcher's tendencies under pressure. They know which pitch is coming, not because of magic, but because of thousands of hours of film study, data analysis, and mental rehearsal. Ohtani dug into the box. The pitcher delivered. And in a fraction of a second, less time than it takes to blink, Ohtani's body executed what his mind had already rehearsed 100 times. The swing was compact. Violent. Absolutely decisive. The line drive exploded off the bat at a launch angle that was almost perfectly flat, screaming through the infield, finding the gap, clearing the bases. 2 runs scored. Cardinals 3, Dodgers 3, for approximately 4 seconds. Because in the chaos that followed, a Cardinals fielding miscommunication allowed the go-ahead run to score as well. Final, Cardinals 4, Dodgers 1. Wait, correction. By the time the inning settled, the Cardinals had extended their own advantage on a wild sequence that followed. The Dodgers' rally had collapsed under the pressure of their own momentum. A base-running mistake. A failed bunt. And suddenly what looked like a Dodgers comeback was instead the final nail in their coffin. Cardinals 4. Dodgers 1. Ohtani's line drive hadn't saved the Dodgers. It had cracked open the game, and then the game had swallowed them whole. Here is the important question that nobody on the post-game panels is asking. Why does Ohtani consistently deliver in the moments that matter most? The easy answer is talent. The lazy answer is genetics. But talent without structure produces inconsistency, and what defines Ohtani more than anything else is his terrifying consistency in the biggest moments. The 9th inning. Full count. Season implications on the line. Hostile crowd energy pressing down from every angle. And Ohtani looked calm. Not emotionless, calm. There is an enormous difference. Emotionless athletes are disconnected from the game. Calm athletes have processed their emotions in advance and made peace with the pressure before it arrives. They have rehearsed failure. They have rehearsed success. And so when the real moment comes, it feels, to them, almost familiar. This is the result of preparation that begins long before game day. Teammates who have spent extended time around Ohtani in the clubhouse consistently describe the same thing. An almost unusual quietness before games. Not withdrawal, presence. Ohtani is engaged, approachable, warm with teammates. But beneath the surface, there is a machine running. Processing. Organizing. Preparing. His pre-game routine is not spontaneous. Every element, from his physical warm-up sequence to his mental visualization work to even the specific foods he consumes at specific times before first pitch, is calculated and repeated with the kind of precision that most people associate with surgeons, not baseball players. This is not accidental greatness. This is engineered greatness. It would be unfair to tell this story without giving the Cardinals their full credit, because Cardinals 4, Dodgers 1 is not a footnote. It is the headline. The Cardinals came into Dodger Stadium as underdogs. The national media had already written their narrative. Dodgers win the series. Dodgers dominate. Ohtani puts on a show and Los Angeles moves on. Nobody told the Cardinals. Their pitching staff executed with a discipline and composure that deserves genuine recognition. For 8 full innings, they controlled tempo, changed eye levels, and refused to give Ohtani anything comfortable to hit. That is an achievement. Keeping the world's most dangerous hitter frustrated for 8 innings requires a game plan, but more importantly, it requires the mental toughness to execute that game plan under an avalanche of pressure. The Cardinals' defense was equally sharp through the middle innings, turning 2 crucial double plays that killed Dodger rallies and kept the scoreboard in St. Louis' favor. And their base running, aggressive, intelligent, calculated, created an extra run in the 6th inning that ultimately proved to be the difference. This was not a Cardinals win by default. This was a Cardinals win by design. But the story of this game, the moment that will be replayed, analyzed, and debated, is that 9th inning line drive. And what it ultimately revealed about both teams. The final score of 4-1 carries a weight that goes beyond a single game. The Dodgers built their entire off-season narrative around invincibility. The roster construction. The financial commitments. The championship expectations that were set not just by the front office, but by the fan base, the media, and by the players themselves. When a team carries that kind of expectation, losses land differently. A 4-1 defeat at home, against a Cardinals team that was not supposed to compete at this level, forces uncomfortable conversations. About the lineup construction in the late innings. About the bullpen decisions that allowed the Cardinals to maintain their advantage. About whether the Dodgers' approach in high-leverage situations is disciplined enough to win when games are truly on the line. These are not panic questions. These are necessary questions. The best organizations in baseball ask them early, before small problems become patterns. Before one tough loss becomes a losing streak. Before the narrative shifts from dynasty to disappointment. The Dodgers have the talent to respond. Nobody serious is questioning that. The question is whether they have the collective discipline to look at this loss honestly, make the necessary adjustments, and come back sharper. Ohtani, for his part, will almost certainly do exactly that. His line drive in the ninth inning was not a failure, it was a moment of individual brilliance inside a team defeat. And elite athletes understand the difference between personal accountability and collective outcome. He will study this game. He will find what he can improve. And he will come back better. That is simply what he does. Games like this one, Cardinals 4, Dodgers 1, decided in the chaos of a ninth inning, are why baseball refuses to be predicted. Analytics can tell you tendencies. Data can tell you probabilities. Roster construction can tell you which team should win on paper. But baseball is not played on paper. It is played in the dirt, under stadium lights, in front of screaming crowds, by human beings who are managing pressure, fatigue, emotion, and expectation simultaneously. And in those conditions, the team that executes its preparation most completely, not the team with the biggest payroll or the biggest names, tends to find a way. Last night, that was the Cardinals. And at the center of the most discussed moment of the entire game was a line drive from Shohei Ohtani that reminded everyone watching exactly why he is in a category almost entirely by himself. It wasn't enough to win the game. But it was enough to remind the baseball world of something important. Ohtani is not just playing the game at a different level. He is playing it at a different frequency altogether. So what do we take from Cardinals 4, Dodgers 1? We take the Cardinals' composure as a lesson in preparation over reputation. We take the Dodgers' late-game struggles as a warning about complacency inside championship expectations. And we take Ohtani's savage line drive in the ninth inning as exactly what it was, a window into a level of preparation, calmness, and competitive fury that is genuinely rare in any sport, in any era. The Dodgers will respond. The Cardinals will keep competing. And Ohtani will keep showing up, in the biggest moments, under the heaviest pressure, and delivering. Because that is not a coincidence. That is a system. That is a standard. And right now, nobody in baseball is operating at that standard more consistently than Shohei Ohtani.